Hi, my name is Olivia Williams. Welcome to the Ice Core Lab at Oregon State University. I'm one of the PhD candidates in the geology program here, and I'm just one of the researchers in this lab who uses ice cores to learn about our climate's past and how the Earth has changed with time. You know that ice cores contain bubbles of trapped air that we can use to help study the past. But once we bring that ice back from the coldest places on Earth, like Greenland and Antarctica, how do we actually measure that information inside? Let's take a look. Our lab specializes in greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide and methane. Even though we measure these things in the same lab space, the method that we use to extract that air is different depending on what we want to measure. Let's start with the CO2 extraction line. CO2, or carbon dioxide, is an important greenhouse gas that's contributing to climate change today. By measuring CO2 in ice cores, we can understand how CO2 and temperature were related in the past and to make better climate models for our future. On this extraction line, we use dry extraction, which means that we don't melt the ice to get the air out. Instead, we put our ice sample inside of a crusher that's kept very cold. After using a vacuum pump to remove all of that modern room air, the crusher uses a bunch of needles to pulverize the ice into snow, which lets out all of the air from inside the bubbles. We use dry extraction when we're worried that the gas we're interested in might dissolve if we melted the ice, which would make it harder to measure. Meanwhile, on our methane extraction line, we do use wet extraction. Those ice samples that we want to measure are placed in flasks, and first, those flasks are kept in a bath. It's very cold to prevent them from melting. Then, after that modern room air is removed, we melt the ice and the bubbles come fizzing out like a can of soda. That's how we measure the gas in these wet extraction samples. This ice that you're seeing now isn't boiling, it's just melting at room temperature, and those high pressure bubbles are popping out of the ice. You know that we can use noble gases to understand past ocean temperatures. Here's our own noble gas extraction line here at Oregon State. Like the methane line, this setup uses wet extraction, where the ice samples are melted once the room air has been vacuumed out. Measurements for mean ocean temperature need large samples of ice, up to several kilograms, to capture very small changes over a long time. No one sells gas extraction lines pre-made, so we build each one to do what we need it to do. This line even uses hooks meant to hang towels on your wall. Designing, building, and testing this line has been the bulk of my own PhD project. Other extraction lines in our lab were built by other graduate students and engineers over the last 20 years. These types of measurements on individual blocks of ice are called discrete measurements. That means that you get one data point for each piece of ice, and then you string those together to form a complete climate record. Another way to measure ice is with continuous flow analysis. With continuous flow, you cut your ice into long sticks and let them slowly melt on a heated plate. The water and gases are collected where that melting occurs. We have a continuous flow setup here at Oregon State University in our off-site lab, where we can measure methane and carbon dioxide at the same time, along with other information like the chemistry of the ice itself and the concentration of dust in the ice core. This method is great to get very high-resolution measurements, but the data can be harder to interpret because of how those measurements work. So it's great to have both options available so we can decide which one is best for a particular core. On both the CO2 and methane extraction lines, the air that we extract is passed to this instrument called a gas chromatograph, or GC. Inside the GC, the air is heated up, passed through a narrow tube that separates the different molecules within the sample, and measured at the other end. That tells us the concentration of the different gases we want to measure. For some other measurements like noble gases, we use a mass spectrometer, like this one here. Inside the mass spectrometer, the instrument ionizes the gases, and it shoots them past a powerful magnet to split the different types of molecules apart from each other. We're just one of many labs around the world that study ice cores. Other labs measure more gases like nitrogen and oxygen. They look at the chemistry and structure of the ice crystals themselves. They look at volcanic ash in the ice. All of this wealth of information that we're able to get from ice cores. By collaborating with this global network of scientists, we can unlock our planet's past and create better predictions for our future. I've got to get back into the freezer to prep some more samples, but thank you so much for visiting.